So, what did it really look like day to day having Jeff, my husband, become my coach? Oh my goodness, I am not about to get emotional. Hi guys, Tiffany Ofili Porter here, where I discuss all things life after sport. I was a professional athlete for 12 years in track and field. I attended 3 Olympic Games, had a decent resume, one that I'm very proud of. And although I am now in retirement, I do want to talk a little bit about how it was being coached by my husband. Yes, I will get into all of that in this video. And I'll kind of touch a little bit upon why it's really important to choose the right partner to marry, because ultimately they're going to impact your life, even as an athlete. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Imagine spending a lifetime of blood, sweat, and tears perfecting a craft that you're borderline obsessed with, and then taking a portion of that and placing it into the hands of someone else. Then couple that with the fact that you are a type A personality and it's a little bit difficult for you to fully trust other folks and to relinquish all control into their hands. Yeah, that's what I was working with when I decided to hire, such a weird term given the nature of our relationship, my husband in 2016 to coach me to my third and final Olympic Games. Up until that point, I had some incredible coaches in the past. Shout out to Coach Henry, Coach Chiz, my high school coaches before them, and Raina. And I told Jeff, I was very upfront with him that he had some very big shoes to fill. Thankfully, he was up for the challenge, and I felt very confident placing my career in his hands. And here's a little bit of a background of my husband, Jeff, for those of you who don't know. He was an NCAA champion and 3-time All-American in track and field while running at the University of Michigan. He is a University of Michigan Hall of Famer, and he ran track professionally himself for 10 years. He made 2 Olympic teams in the 110 hurdles for Team USA, and he is a true student and fan of the sport and really just enjoys learning all that he can about it. As you can imagine, he had firsthand experience in the mental recovery and maintenance aspects of being an athlete. All of this, coupled with the fact that I know he genuinely wants to see me succeed, made it very simple in asking him to be my coach. So what did it really look like day to day having Jeff, my husband, father of my kids, best friend, take those hats off and now become my coach? Due to Jeff's job at the time, my sister Cindy, shout out to her, we were training partners for a period of time, had access to the University of Michigan's new world-class indoor training facility. We would go to practice around Jeff's lunchtime, and we had to be flexible with arranging our training around his meeting schedule at work. Now, as many of you do know, I am a pharmacist, and I was also practicing pharmacy during this time that I was training for my third Olympic Games as well, which added a whole different layer of coordination that went into our day-to-day. Now, even though I was part-time and averaged 1 to 2 days per week in the pharmacy, trying to coordinate my work schedule and my training schedule did definitely take some very strategic planning. A typical training day when I had to work in the pharmacy would look like 5 a.m. wake up, where I had to nurse my daughter, get her ready for the day, and get dressed and head to the track. It was about a 20-minute commute from where we lived to the indoor facility at U of M. About 6:15, I would leave the house and embark on said 20-minute long journey. By 6:45 a.m., I would begin workouts and start the training session. I would get the workout in as efficiently as possible, and then by 8:30, I had to leave the track to make it to the pharmacy on time to open up by 9 a.m. 9 a.m. came around, I was at work, track brain off, focused on being the best pharmacist possible, and my shifts were finished by 7 p.m. Then I would embark on the 20-minute long drive back home. By 7:30, I would be home, I would eat dinner, I would nurse my daughter to sleep. Then sometimes, depending on how we structured that week, by about 8:20, I would go down to the basement and get in my weight workout in our at-home gym. And then by about 9:10 p.m., I would do an ice bath if necessary, get showered, and get ready for bed. During these early morning sessions, which like I mentioned were only 1 to 2 days per week, Jeff was present about 95% of the time. And as I'm recalling all of this, I still don't even know how we were able to coordinate all of this. Mind you, remember I mentioned Jeff was also coaching my sister, and he prioritized being at her training sessions as well. So on the days that I worked in the pharmacy, he was coaching both of us at 2 separate times during the day. Also trying to figure this all around his work schedule as well. Now, guys, if this sounds like a lot, that's because it was. I often get asked how we were able to juggle all of this. And as you can imagine, it took an insane amount of planning and teamwork to make it all possible. Another question I often get about our coach-athlete dynamic was, how did we actually balance track life and home life successfully? Thankfully, Jeff and I did have a lot of experience balancing love and track, if you will, because prior to him being my coach, we both were student athletes. We met on the University of Michigan track team, so we really knew how to use that dynamic to our benefit. Being able to support each other's careers despite us being in our own was a skill that we had to master very early on. For example, if one of us had a bad meet, we learned to support each other through it and not take our frustrations out on the other person. And this was the case later on in our athlete-coach relationship as well. If I was upset about how a session went, I had to learn how to turn that off and not bring it home with me when we're supposed to be focusing on family time. Similarly, if Jeff wanted to go all in and talk about a workout that he wanted to try for me and my sister, sometimes I'd have to step back and be like, Jeff, the athlete in me needs a break. Can we please table this conversation for another time? And he worked with me on those days as well. Although sometimes it did seem impossible, I do think ultimately Jeff and I really did do a good job of separating that home and track life. And having a new baby, our daughter Chidera, in the mix during that time also kind of was a welcome distraction, so we weren't overly consumed with track talk all of the time. Now, getting to the importance of really choosing your life partner well, I want to kind of discuss a little bit about what Jeff and I had to deal with behind closed doors. Before Jeff and I officially became parents in 2019 with our daughter, we did experience pregnancy loss. I talk about it all the time. I'm very transparent about my miscarriage story. But as you can imagine, that was a very difficult time that we were working through, in addition to having that coach-athlete dynamic. I really appreciate Jeff for being so gracious with me during those really crushing moments and taking that coach hat off and just being a pillar of strength for me when I truly needed it the most. I tried to muster up the strength to train through the sadness, but it really was just a pointless attempt because the time that I had to take off to nurture those pregnancies in those early days meant I was truly behind on fitness going into the World Championships in 2017. That year, I literally had the worst championships than I've ever had. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have been fortunate to earn 4 World Championship medals. This championship, I literally didn't make it out of the first round. So as you can imagine, huge disappointment and a far departure from my normal performance at championship competitions. Even though I didn't have the courage or just the desire to share about my miscarriage story at that time, I mean, we were literally still going through it. Jeff obviously knew what was going on, and I just am so thankful that he was able to just help me get through those difficult times. First, you have the disappointment of pregnancy loss, and then you couple that with trying to overcome it by going to a competition that you probably shouldn't have gone to and not performing the way that you wanted to. It was just a lot going on during that time. And I honestly could not have gotten through without my husband. And this is a testament to not only Jeff's character, but the importance of choosing the right life partner. A lesser man may have been disappointed that I was embarrassing his coaching abilities by having such a subpar performance at the World Championships, but not Jeff. He understood that there are just certain things in life that are way bigger than track. And it's in the tough moments that you truly see somebody's character. And I honestly am just so proud of the man that I married and the way that he held it down for your girl when I was going through literally the most difficult time of my life. Jeff has stood by me during, oh my goodness, I am not about to get emotional. No. Jeff has stood by me during the most difficult times in my life, and not only in sport, but also in life. And for that, I am truly grateful. But let's move on to happier conversations. Let's talk about how we were able to grind and then shine together. When someone is there in the trenches, shooting with you in the gym, it makes the triumphs so much sweeter. The European medal that you earned is so much sweeter when you know you had to shed 65 pounds of post-baby weight to get back to peak fitness. The British title you earned is so much sweeter when you remember how you strained your back doing simple hurdle hops your first week back training postpartum. The fast times are so much sweeter when you recall the stabbing pain that you experienced on your first run back post-baby. Holding your baby in your arms is so much sweeter when you remember the gut-wrenching pregnancy loss you experienced prior to being able to do so. And seeing your husband blossom into an incredible father just elevates your love and respect for him so much when you know that even though you were going through the miscarriages physically alone, he was with you going through it and supporting you emotionally. So to be able to experience the joy of parenthood together, top tier. And through all of this, Jeff was there coaching and encouraging me along the way. So you know how you look back after you graduate and you think, how the heck did I make it through that hustle and bustle to get here? Yep, that's exactly how I feel right now as I'm recalling the journey that it took as Jeff being my coach and coaching me to my third and final Olympic Games. As you can imagine, it took an incredible amount of dedication, sacrifice, hard work, sleepless nights, and just all of that extra planning in order to make my dream a reality. And now, although I am on the other side of sport, I am very comfortably in retirement, and I honestly couldn't even imagine waking up at 5:30 a.m. to go and do a training session. Back then, it had to be done, and it got done. And Jeff and I did it together. And honestly, I couldn't imagine a better partner, a better coach, a better teammate, just being there with me in my corner, uplifting me and helping me to achieve a childhood dream. I will forever be grateful. And honestly, I look back on those moments with fond memories. The Olympics didn't go the way that I would have liked. However, I do find great comfort in knowing that we put our best foot forward. We did it with integrity. We were able to achieve a lot of our goals that year. And it just is so heartwarming to know that we were able to do it together. So shout out to you, Jeff, for helping me on that journey. Just want to remind my single sisters out there the importance of really being intentional about finding a life partner, because it's more than just the cute photos. It's more than the date nights. It's someone who is literally going to be a legacy building partner, and your spouse can literally affect every single aspect of your life. So let me know if you want a part 2 of this video. I think it would actually be really cool to kind of delve deeper and get Jeff's perspective on how it really was coaching me as his athlete. Sometimes he very jokingly says that I was the most difficult athlete he's ever coached, but I beg to differ. So if you enjoyed this video, I hope you guys did. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know if you want a part 2. Let me know if there's anything in this video that I said that surprised you. And I look forward to catching you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to join the family so you don't miss another upload from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.